For every so many trucks that are made, there's at least one that does not fully get made through. Today I'm going to bring you the top 10 trucks that were never ever made, but concept art does exist for at least some of these trucks. Some of these are just going to have to rely on details and other stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 10. I know the quality might not be too good, but this is Alien Invasion Fire. So, as we know, if you've seen the diecast of the Fire and Ice by Spin Master, you'll notice that Alien Invasion's an ice truck. Well, originally it was going to be a fire truck. Along with, there was also another one, which was Dragon, who was also supposed to be a fire truck, but they made an ice truck instead. I don't know. I like the black on this truck, and it would have been pretty cool for a fire truck, but I think it looks good as well as an ice truck. So I'm sure this is gonna split it down 50-50 between the fans. Number 9. And at number 9 we have the 2017 Farewell Tour Medusa The Chrome. Of course, if you remember, this was made into a diecast, but not a real truck, unfortunately, because Medusa was fired by Feld for other reasons outside of the sport, which also that's kind of what happened to David Bradshaw. But either way, it's really cool to see this. It would have been really cool to see this truck in real life, but unfortunately, some things just don't go through. Number 8. And at number 8, we have 92 Quick Draw. This is kind of like, it looked like it would have been a replacement for Gunslinger. It's kind of like Gunslinger mixed with Bad News Travels Fast, the very first red and black one. It looks really cool. Definitely, it would not have survived modern day Monster Jam, but I don't think it was designed for Monster Jam. But it's still more like the Western version of Gunslinger. Number 7. And number 7, we have Kid Rock. Now you may wonder, well, that's a real truck right there. Well, originally Feld, the owners of Monster Jam, were going to do a Kid Rock truck to celebrate one of his more recent albums back in like 2003 or something. But it just never happened, especially since if you listen to Kid Rock, you'll understand he's not really the most appropriate of rap rockers, if you will. Whatever you want to call it. But especially back in 2003 when nu metal was still kind of a thing. Number 6. And at number 6 we have a truck based on Bugs Bunny, which was supposed to debut in Australia along with Taz. Of course, you know the famous Taz truck that eventually went into Monster Jam. Well, originally they were going to do a truck called Bugsy's Revenge. What the heck? But looking at this drawing, it looks a little ambitious and pretty unrealistic for the time as well. I mean, a carrot in the back, what the heck? And of course you have the face, which looks pretty cool, but then the ears are just so unbelievably big. And also in the wrong place. They're not on the sides of his head, they're on the top of his head. So it's kind of like an ambition work that, it was kind of like Icarus. It flew too close to the sun. Number 5. And at number 5, you'll recognize this truck. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! You remember the famous diecast? Well, this was originally going to be a real truck to replace Inferno and run on its chassis, but unfortunately, due to copyright issues, by the time they eventually got to that, it was never made. I also want to give a shout out to Flashfire that replaced Inferno, of course, in the diecast because of 9/11. And that wouldn't be very appropriate for a truck named Inferno to debut. Same thing that happened with Maximum Destruction. But anyway, this would have been a pretty historic truck. I mean, Anime and Monster Jam, that would have been the biggest crossover since Bread and Butter, right there. Number 4. And at number 4, we have Beware of the Junkyard Dog. Everyone's heard of this one. It was the inspiration for the Monster Mutt Junkyard Dog, which is a very underrated truck. But they were originally, in 2003, they were going to do Beware of the Junkyard Dog, which was going to be just a normal truck, unlike the diecast, which was 41 Willys. Instead, they were just going to use a normal Chevrolet, I assume, as far as I could tell from this concept photo. It looks nice. I love the colors on it. And I do have a diecast to this truck, as a matter of fact. And here it is, and not really all of its glory. Because you can see there's some chips right there, and also it doesn't It's also pretty broke right there. Yeah, I bought this at a flea market for like $3. But for an old truck like this, it's not too bad. Same as I also got Mind Blower, and I also got Holland Heat, but they didn't have Snowhawk. So that was a little disappointing, but for a rare truck like Holland Heat, it's still a very cool find. Anyway, let's get back to the countdown. Number 3. And at number 3, we have another ambitious truck. Look at this thing. Oh my goodness gracious. This was supposed to be the new Captain's Curse to replace the Ford wheelers truck, but unfortunately it just never happened. It was later replaced with Pirate's Curse. But look at this thing. Imagine if these two actually raced the edges there. That would be a bigger crossover than the Yu-Gi-Oh truck. And since bread and butter as well. But this is another one just like the Bugs Bunny truck. It was just far ahead of its time. It was just way too ambitious. And at number 2 we have, speaking of crazy crossovers, they were actually going to plan a Shrek truck in 2007 to debut with Shrek the Third. Unfortunately, there's no concept for it because that would just be too much to see on this video. But instead, I just have this wonderful picture of Shrek.
Nice.
So they were originally going to do this truck in 2007 to promote the third Shrek movie, Shrek the Third. But unfortunately, it just never happened, especially since it was just a movie truck. Very few movie trucks are eventually made, like we saw Wonder Woman, and we saw the new paint scheme for Iron Man briefly. So a truck for Shrek just to promote a movie, especially since there was only one other movie after that, is just another ambitious project that just never came into fruition. And that's really sad to see. And the number 1 most ambitious, too big to fail project that never got made goes to Gravedigger. No, you cannot make this up. They were actually originally going to do a Wild Tracks tank version of Gravedigger. I mean, quantum physics straight up forbids this. But here it is. Well, it never got made. This is from a t-shirt. But the fact that this idea was even conceived is beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, it would have been a holy sight to see for modern day Gravedigger viewers, but this takes the cake. You think a Shrek truck was going to be crazy? This is even crazier. I mean, I have no words. I've run out at this point. With all that being said, I pass this question on to you. Which of these canceled 10 trucks do you wish were real? Leave your comment down below. Please like and share and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.